Power is usually loud, it commands, it orders. T forces compliance. But there is another kind of power, quiet, subtle, and often invisible. It doesn't shout, it doesn't threaten, and yet it changes decisions, shapes outcomes, and moves entire systems. Today, we explore the soft power paradox, how women often influence the world without holding direct authority, and why this form of power is not weaker but in many cases far more effective. 1. What is soft power? The term soft power originally comes from political science. It describes influence through attraction rather than coercion. Not forcing someone to act, but making them want to act. When applied to human behavior, soft power operates through emotional intelligence, social awareness, trust, persuasion, perception management. Historically, men were more likely to hold formal authority, titles, ranks, institutions. Women, excluded from these structures, adapted. And adaptation created something powerful. Instead of authority through position, they developed authority through connection. 2. The paradox of invisible power. Here's the paradox. Soft power often goes unnoticed, yet it shapes outcomes more consistently than overt control. A woman may not be the CEO, but she influences the CEO's decisions. She may not lead the meeting, but she steers its direction. She may not issue commands, but her approval, disapproval, or emotional response changes behavior. This power is indirect, relational, psychological, and because it doesn't look like power, it often avoids resistance. People resist being controlled. They rarely resist being guided. 3. Emotional intelligence as a weapon. One of the strongest tools behind soft power is emotional intelligence. Studies repeatedly show that women, on average, read emotional cues faster, detect shifts in tone and energy, sense unspoken tensions. This isn't about manipulation, it's about awareness. Emotional intelligence allows influence before conflict begins. Instead of forcing outcomes, soft power prevents resistance from forming. When people feel understood, they become open, and openness is the gateway to influence. 4. Social architecture controlling the environment. Direct power controls people. Soft power controls contexts. Women often influence by shaping social norms, group dynamics, emotional climates. Who feels included, who feels supported, who feels uncomfortable. These subtle adjustments guide behavior without confrontation. In many social systems, the person who manages relationships controls access, shapes reputation, holds real power, even if their name is not on the door. 5. Wide soft power lasts longer than force. Force creates compliance. Soft power creates alignment. Compliance ends the moment authority disappears. Alignment continues even when no one is watching. That's why soft power builds loyalty, creates long-term influence, shapes identity rather than behavior. People don't just obey, they internalize. This is why movements, cultures, and families are often shaped not by the loudest voice, but by the most emotionally intelligent one. 6. The misunderstanding of soft power. Soft power is often dismissed as weakness, because it doesn't dominate, doesn't threaten, doesn't demand, but make no mistake, soft power is strategic. It requires patience, self-control, psychological insight. It is influence refined. In many ways, soft power is what emerges when brute force is no longer effective. The quiet force that shapes everything. The world is changing. Authority is questioned. Hierarchies are flattening. People resist control more than ever. And in this environment, soft power becomes the most valuable currency. Women didn't invent soft power. They mastered it out of necessity. And today, this quiet force influences leadership, culture, relationships, even global movements. Power doesn't always look like control. Sometimes it looks like understanding. And that may be the strongest power of all. If you want to understand power, don't just watch who speaks the loudest. Watch who everyone listens to.